Hello everyone, Mike Rempel from Excel Bytes with today's Excel blog post. Sorry it's been a while since my last post, but as you might be able to tell, I'm kind of getting through some sore throat and laryngitis issues here. So hopefully it's not too bad that you'll be able to understand this tutorial. So in this video, we're going to do a lookup from one table that has multiple quantities for the same items, and ensure that we only pull each unique quantity once into another table that's sorted in a different order. So let's see how we can do that in Excel. So here is our scenario. We have this table here, and as you can see, it has products 1 through 5 and multiple instances of each one, with a different quantity for each one of those products. And I want to pull those quantities into column H here, and you can also see that those are sorted in a different order. And here's our formula that we're going to use. It's going to be an index formula that will incorporate small if, row, and COUNTIF into it. And you can also notice that it has curly brackets around it. That indicates that it's an array formula. And an array formula needs to be entered with Control-Shift-Enter rather than just Enter to activate the array aspect of it. So what happens if we just try to use a standard VLOOKUP? Well, I'm going to type equals VLOOKUP tab. My lookup value is going to be G2, comma. My table array is going to be this range here, and I'm going to hit F4 in order to lock that, comma again. My column index, I want to pull the values from column 3, and I want an exact match, so 0. Close my parentheses, hit enter, and I get 104. So if I look at my first instance of product 3, it does have 104, so that seems to work. But when I copy that down, notice that every time there's product 3, I get a 104. It just keeps pulling the first instance of that item that it finds, so that's not going to work for our scenario here. So I'm going to hit Control-Z twice to undo that. And just for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to copy the formula that I've created here, and I'm going to enter it into cell H2, and I need to go in and edit that and hit Control-Shift-Enter to make it an array formula and put those curly brackets around it. Now when I copy that down, you'll see that my total matches up 22, 25, 22, 25, and in each instance of product 3, I have 104, 227, 294, 211, and 94. And those are the 5 instances that I have here. So it is pulling unique versions for each one of the items that we have. Now I'm going to click down in cell H8, and we're going to use that as our formula to walk through it and see how this actually works. So if we first click into our index formula, you can see that the array is C2 to C14, and the row number is the small function that incorporates if, row, and COUNTIF into it. I don't need the column number argument because we only have one column in our array, and that's in square brackets, so that is optional. If we look at the small function, which is how we determine the row number, if I click into it, it has 2 arguments, the array, which is the if and row functions, and the k, which determines which smallest, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, etc., smallest that we want to pull from the array. Now in the COUNTIF function, you can see that I have range and criteria. My range locks the first component of that, G2, and as I copy it down, it keeps expanding it to the location of that formula, and it's going to pull the appropriate or the corresponding item from column G in order to determine the number of times that item appears in that range. So in this case, if I'm looking for G8, which is product 3, in G2 to G8, I should come up with the number 4 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 instances of it there. So if I click back into the small formula, click K to highlight that, and I hit F9, you can see I get the number 4. And so that's exactly what I wanted to accomplish there. So from my array, which is the if, function, which incorporates row, it's going to pull the fourth item, or the fourth smallest item, from that range. So let's take a look and see how the if function is working. My logical test is G8 equal A2 to A14. If I hit F9 on that, I'll get 5 falses, then 5 trues, and 3 more falses. Those 5 trues are the area of my table where it matches up with product 3. Now, if I look in the value if true, that's the row number, A2 to A14. Now, that's going to be the same for every one of my formulas here. But I subtract 1, so I have 1 through 13. And again, if I hit F9 on that, you'll see that it gives me just 1 through 13. And so now it's going to compare, using the array function of my formula, these falses and trues with 1 through 13. So if I go back to my small function here, I'm going to collapse that down a bit. If I go back to my small function, select my array, and I hit F9 to calculate that, the result is I get 5 falses, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 3 falses. With my COUNTIF function, the result of that, by hitting F9, is the number 4. So it's going to give me the fourth smallest item in 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So again, if I select my index function, hit my row number, and hit F9 on that, you'll see the result is 9. So it's going into the index C2 to C14 and giving me the 9th row of that. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that gives me 211. And if we look at the result of that formula in cell H8, I get 211. So it's pulling the correct information for that row in my table. And we can do the same thing in looking at that if I go to formulas and evaluate formula. And we can walk it through this way. First, it's going to look up G8 for my if function. That says product 3. Now let's compare that to A2 to A14. That gives me those 5 falses, 5 trues, and then 3 falses. My row is going to give me 2 through 14, and then when I subtract 1, I'm going to get 1 through 13. And then when I run that if statement, it's going to give me 5 falses, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 3 falses. Next, what's my G8 in my COUNTIF function? That's my criteria. When I compare it to that range G2 to G8, I get 4. So my small function, I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want the fourth smallest. That's going to give me a 9. And then the 9th item in C2 to C14 is 211. And that exactly matches what I wanted to accomplish.
And there you have it. I hope you like what you see. If you do like what you see here, please take a minute to share this post on your favorite social network. I can be found on Facebook, Google+, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So I hope you enjoy this. If you'd like to see more, please feel free to stop by my website, excel-bytes.com, and I hope you subscribe. So have a great day and happy excelling.